It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl, a special edition today. The two teams vying today are trying to get to the semifinal elimination rounds. They are two great teams from Judge Sylvania Woods and from Longfields. You know, if you've not seen our show before, this is a test of scientific IQ. And we ask you to play along, see if you can match wits with our young students here today. Many of them just 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. You're going to be amazed at their skill. Because of the pandemic, we're on Zoom. All of the students are home safely. I'm here in the studio in Landover. There are no buzzers here, so the competition's a little different. But each team will get 18 questions in our 6 categories. Not the same questions, but of comparable difficulty. Both teams start out at 50 points because they look so good. No penalties for incorrect answers. At the end of the 2 rounds here today, one of these 2 schools will come back to play in the semifinal eliminations. All right, first things first, let's tell you about the categories of questions we use here on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's science potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
All right. It is now time to meet that team from Judge Sylvania Woods. And Robert, nice to have you back as the captain. Give a nice wave to everybody at home. And I see you've changed your backdrop. Always looks good there, young man. And also joining him is Kalijah. Kalijah, give a nice wave to everybody out there if you would. And Christopher with his space background there. Hey, Chris. Okay, it is time to begin the game. We start with our category, our green things category, with the 5-point question. So if you're ready, here we go. Poet Joyce Kilmer wrote a famous poem that included the line, "Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make one of these green things, like an oak or an elm or a redwood." Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a what?
Tree.
Tree. That's it. Got yourself 5 points. Here's your 10-point question, 15-point question. There are very few words that begin with the letter X, like xylophone. But one that is familiar to science students the world over is the vascular vessel in plants that moves water and minerals up the plant and is often paired with its opposite vessel, the phloem. What is the X?
Xylem.
Say it again.
Xylem.
Xylem is right. Good. 25 points. Well, it sounds as though photosynthesis should be spelled with an F. So too does it sound like this chemical, which is essential for plant growth and has the symbol P on the periodic table, also sound like it should begin with an F.
Kalijah, I got 7.
It's a typo word.
We're looking for a chemical element that is essential for plant growth. It has the symbol P on the periodic table, so we know it begins with the letter P, but when you pronounce it, it sounds like it begins with the letter F.
Phosphorus.
Phosphorus is right. Good. Let's go on to the zoo. I think you got all those. Yeah, you got a perfect score already. Let's keep it going. Let's get to the zoo. Only you can prevent forest fires. That was the long-time message of what famous earth sign animal?
Kalijah. Can you please repeat that, Kalijah?
You.
An earth sign is a bear. It was Smokey the Bear. Only you can prevent forest fires. They have changed it now. Only you can prevent wildfires. Let's go to 15 points. This is an interesting question. Constellations, which are groups of stars up in the heavens, they look like creatures if you use your imagination. The constellation by the name of Camelopardalis. Camelopardalis. Doesn't look like a camel at all. But rather, the star pattern suggests this long-necked animal, once thought to be a mix between a camel and a leopard.
I'm going with giraffe.
Giraffe is right. A camelopard. That's what the ancients called what we call a giraffe. Nicely done. Here's your first body system. No, 25 points in zoo. One-eyed creatures, like Polyphemus in mythology. If you saw the cartoon, the animated movie Despicable Me, you remember the minions. Some of them only had one eye. They have the same name as a one-eyed microscopic organism. What's that name?
Elijah, or Christopher, you guys know
A one-eyed creature, whether real life or
Wait a minute.
mythology.
I think it's something with bear, like water bear.
That's a good idea. Have you ever heard of a cyclops? A cyclops. A cyclops has just one eye. All right. Now we can move on to the body systems questions. How many of you have a dog? Anyone have a dog out there? Nobody has a dog.
I'm allergic.
I'm sure you wished you did. Well, if you have a dog and you're taking him for a walk, when you command your dog to do this, you're telling him to stay close to this body part that was Achilles' undoing.
Sit.
You said a body.
It's a body part. The dog, if you command your dog to do this, you're telling him to stay close to this body part that was Achilles' undoing.
Your knee?
Not your knee. If you remember Achilles, he was made vulnerable because he was dipped into a river, and the only part that didn't get covered by water was his heel. And that's where an arrow was shot into his heel, and that's what killed him. So when you tell the dog, heel, that's when you want it to stay close. Heel was the answer. 15 points. While cardiac arteries take blood to the heart, and renal, R-E-N-A-L arteries, supply blood to the kidneys, the hepatic artery, H-E-P-A-T-I-C, brings blood to this organ.
The kidney. Elijah, you guys have
So the cardiac arteries takes blood to the heart, the renal arteries takes blood to the kidneys, the hepatic artery takes blood to this organ.
How did you guys know about it?
Correct answer there is the liver. The liver, like in hepatitis. If you have hepatitis, you have an infection in your liver. Some of you might have heard of hepatitis before. Here's the 25-point question in the body systems. How many of you don't like going to the dentist? I don't. A visit to the dentist is never all that pleasant, but if you receive some laughing gas with the formula N2O, somehow the discomfort isn't so bad. Is N2O nitrogen dioxide, nitrous oxide, or nitric acid? N2O, nitrogen dioxide, nitrous oxide, or nitric acid?
Nitric oxide. Elijah, do you want to say anything?
Well, I know it's definitely not the acid, and if I know it's not what Robert said, then it must be the last thing.
Yeah, last.
All right, so again, your choices are nitrogen dioxide, nitrous oxide, or nitric acid. Okay, Robert, what you got? You pick.
The first one.
First one is nitrogen actually it's called nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide is correct there. Dioxide would mean O2, not 2O. Still a good round, 110 points in this important match. Good work. It is now time to meet the team from Longfields Elementary School. They were here previously too, as was Judge Sylvania Woods, and they're here today vying for the chance to move on to the semifinal eliminations. Let's meet the team. James is the captain. James, wave to everyone at home, please, with his great stellar background there. Jared is back with us too. Hey, Jared, good to have you back. And Kyrie, nice to have you on the show for the first time. Former alternate, now playing for his school. Nice to have all you guys here. And if you are ready, let's begin with your Green Things questions. Here's your 5-point question. For eating a piece of forbidden fruit, the Bible says that Adam and Eve were banished from Eden, which was what kind of green place?
Garden.
Garden,
Yeah.
right.
Garden. He asked that question before.
That's right. Garden of Eden. They ate that apple when they were told not to do that.
Yes.
Next, for 15 points, is a picture for you, visual question. There's a country in Southeast Asia called Singapore. Beautiful place. It's 85 degrees every day year-round. This flower dome in Singapore's Botanic Garden is one of the largest of these glass-enclosed growing centers in the world.
Dome Sanctuary? No, it's not. I think it's named after a chemical. Because we watched a video on it where light gets in and it bounces. So light gets in through the top of the glass, but it can't escape. So fans get light all the time.
You're absolutely right. Can you tell me what the name of it is? James is racking his brain. Kyrie, it's a greenhouse. A greenhouse. A greenhouse. All right. Let's do the 25-point question in the Green Things category. Are any of you Scouts, Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts?
Nope.
One of the many merit badges often earned by an Eagle Scout is one with what B initial subject, that is the study of plants.
Yeah. Because you said in the first question. Biology. I think it's botany. Because I think it's botany because I went to DC and looked at this museum, the Museum of Botany, and it had a bunch of plants. He said the study.
You got it. It is botany for 25 points. Nicely done, guys. All right, let's go to the zoo. Something that seems it can't possibly happen. That can never happen. It's only going to happen if these barnyard porcine animals start to fly.
Pigs.
Pigs. When pigs fly. That's it. All right, let's go to the 15-point question. You're doing fine. It has long been believed that Queen Cleopatra in ancient Egypt died as a result of being bitten by an asp, A-S-P, which is what the initial kind of snake?
Viper.
Viper. You got it, Jared. You got it. You were on it like white on rice. Let's do 25 points in zoo. Curious George was a fictional monkey. Mickey was a fictional mouse. But Laika, L-A-I-K-E, was a real-life one of these mammals that flew into space aboard a Russian rocket in 1957.
So y'all might not know this, but it's a dog.
James has spoken. It is indeed Laika the dog. Excellent. Let's move on to the body systems. All right. Author Judy Blume wrote a book about a boy named Andy who was tricked into drinking a juice made of, listen to this, it's sickening. The juice was made of lemons, ketchup, mustard, and olive oil, all to get these pigmented spots to appear on his face that he wanted.
Pimple?
Freckles.
No. Okay. Pigmented. Let's think about that.
It's either pimples or freckles.
Warts? Why would someone want pimples on their face?
I don't know.
So I would say freckles.
I think
Freckles is the correct
freckles.
answer. Freckles is indeed the correct answer. Nicely done. All right, let's do the 15-point question in body systems. Nestled inside your brain is this P-initialed master gland. It's called the master gland because it controls the growth and secretions of all the other endocrine glands in your body. What is that P-initialed gland called?
We went over the brain, but we didn't go over this. So I have no idea. What about you, team?
I really don't know.
Correct answer is the pituitary. Sounds like you
Yeah,
said
we had no idea what that is.
pituitary.
We had no idea.
Guys, try this last one for 25 points. If you see someone collapse and they've had a heart attack and you're the only person around, you should start giving rhythmic chest compressions as part of CPR. CPR stands for cardio, pulmonary. What's the R?
Respiratory.
I would go. It could be
Respiratory.
Respiratory is a reasonable guess, but respiratory and pulmonary go together. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation. You're trying to resuscitate the victim there.
I had no idea what that is.
That was a tough one. But yeah, everybody should know how to do CPR, just like the Heimlich maneuver in case someone is choking or having a heart attack. You may be the only person around. Still, you end that round with 130 points. Nicely done, Longfields. We'll be back with you in just a couple minutes. Nice work. All right, let's talk to the team from Judge Sylvania Woods. You might remember them from last time, and they are sharp as whips. Let's find out a little bit about them. Let's start with their captain, Robert. And Robert, you changed your background. What are we looking at now? It's beautiful.
This is a mountain range.
Yeah, it almost looks like it could be the Himalayas or the Alps out there in the Rockies. Even the Rockies, I don't think, are quite that big. It's a nice place.
Thank you.
Place to go. You're welcome. You are welcome. Tell us how they made you the captain of the team, because they did choose well.
I was really sharp with questions, and I knew a lot of science.
So you had all the qualifications, and you're demonstrating that here.
Yes.
And tell me what you like to do in your spare time, Robert.
I probably like to play around with my little sister. I like to play video games, and I also like to complete my homework and get grades.
Wow. All good things, all typical kid things. Enjoy being a kid because, more responsibilities come as you get older. You're playing a nice game here, and I like, again, your fashion statement. Show us again what you're wearing. Judge Sylvania Woods. What's the mascot?
A tiger.
Tiger. All right. All right, let's look at tiger number 2 here. Let's bring up, let's see, Christopher. Another tiger. He's going to roar out there. I guess tigers roar. Yeah, Chris. And you love space. And you told me before that backdrop, was that a gift to you?
Yes, it's for my birthday.
Very
And
nice.
then we decided to buy my
Wow. So can we ask how old you are?
12.
You're 12 years old. You're this close to teenhood. You're playing a nice game here today. Tell me about your activities when you're not in front of your laptop going to school. What else do you do?
I probably play with my watch some TV,
Yeah.
do homework.
Yeah, and thank goodness for Netflix and some of the movies and things like
Yeah.
that. You
Yeah.
can binge watch some of these things and helps to make these long days go by. We'll be back to normal, we hope, in very short time here. Keep up your good work. And let's talk to Kalijah. Kalijah, come on up and tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you prepare to be on the Science Bowl? Because, boy, you're coming up with answers left and right.
I researched about most of the topics that you all have, and most importantly, I studied on all the prefixes and suffixes as much as I could.
That's beautiful. Yeah, so I say cardio or pulmonary, heart, lungs, you've done all of that. So you really have done your homework. You're an excellent student. What do you want to do someday?
Most likely be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, your own business. And that's 24/7. It's not a 9-to-5 job. If it's your business, you got to be there all the time when things happen. I'm sure you're going to be successful with that. All right, we have 9 more questions for you. Here we go, Sylvania Woods. One astronomer, this is for 5 points. One astronomer said the name for this theory came about after The infant universe had a growth spurt. This is also the name of a famous TV show. One astronomer said the name for this theory came about after the infant universe had a growth spurt.
The Big Bang.
Robert, what'd you say?
I'm calling Elijah. Do you have anything?
The Big Bang.
Big Bang is right. The Big Bang theory. The Big Bang. The Big Bang, the growth spurt. All right, for 15 points and Let's Get Physical is a picture. Look at this, please. If you ever traveled out west, you would have seen this, the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, the country's tallest monument. It's out there because it's supposedly the gateway to the west. Just like the Washington Monument, this Gateway Arch sways back and forth because heat and cold can make it do two things, which are what?
Temperature.
The difference in the temperature causes that monument to do two things.
Bend and twist.
Bend and twist are good options. Anybody else have an idea?
Heat and cool.
Heat and cool. You're all dancing around it.
Hot and cold. Something like that. It gets hot and it gets cold.
When it gets hot, it expands. When it gets cold, it contracts, it shrinks. So that expansion and contraction can cause those monuments to move back and forth. Good try. Get this next one. The Perseid meteor shower, which peaks in August every year, happens when the Earth passes through the debris from one of these celestial objects that famously has a tail.
A comet.
A comet is right. Comets have tails. Nicely done. You got yourself 25 points. Let's go to potpourri for 5 points. If someone likes to go to fancy parties, some people do, they're often called a social one of these lepidopterous insects that flits from flower to flower. They're called a social what?
Social bee.
Not a bee.
A butterfly.
Butterfly it is. It is a social butterfly. You got yourself 5 points. Potpourri for 15. Because of the damage caused by the coronavirus, many COVID victims' only hope of survival is a double transplant of these organs associated often with COPD.
Can you please repeat the question?
Because of the damage caused by the coronavirus, many COVID victims' only hope of survival is a double transplant. They need two. Double transplant of these organs, often associated with the disease COPD.
Too long. I'm guessing. No.
All right.
One is most likely
organs
liver.
are we going to give that patient?
The liver and kidney.
Not liver and kidneys, lungs. 2 lungs. Because that's where they put them on the respirators, the ventilators. I know Chris was banding that about there. COPD is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So pulmonary involves breathing there. Let's try the 25-point question. It's a multiple choicer in potpourri. All right. Which of the following is not usually a diurnal raptor? Diurnal, D-I-U-R-N-A-L. Which of the following birds is not usually a diurnal raptor? All right. A red-shouldered hawk, a great horned owl, or a great blue heron?
You'll
only be able to answer this question if you know what diurnal means. Otherwise, you're just going to be guessing. Which of the following is usually not a diurnal raptor? The hawk, the owl, or the heron?
I'm going with Aaron. No, the hawk.
Correct answer there is the owl. The owl. Diurnal means daylight, opposite of nocturnal. Nocturnal is when you have things that hunt at night like an owl does. And a great blue heron is not considered a raptor because it doesn't have claws and a beak. Let's go to Dateline, your last 3 questions. You'll get this one. If you read, how many of you read the comics in the paper? Do you read comics ever?
Not really.
There's a Peanuts comic strip, Peanuts. There's Snoopy and Charlie Brown and Lucy. Well, Snoopy the dog in the Peanuts comic strip was recently seen reading a book called Darwin's Blank, a tribute to Charles Darwin's ship that had the same name as Snoopy's breed.
A beagle?
A beagle.
Beagle is right. Yes, the Beagle was the name of Darwin's ship. I saw your eyes light up. That was great. For 15 points in Dateline, I have a picture for you. We're going to Singapore, that beautiful country in Southeast Asia, where it's 85 degrees every day. They don't need windows or anything. It's just perfect. While natural trees use the sun to produce sugar and oxygen during photosynthesis, this grove of artificial trees, aren't they neat? This grove of artificial trees in Singapore's Garden by the Bay are covered with photovoltaic cells, letting them produce this. Photovoltaic, P-H-O-T-V-O-L-T-A-I-C. So these trees are not producing sugar and oxygen, they're producing this.
Chlorophyll. Guys, do you guys know anything about this?
I might go with the chlorophyll.
What'd you just say, Kalijah?
I might go with Christopher on the chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll. Actually, this is photovoltaic. Voltaic comes from volt. Those trees, since they're artificial, they're producing electricity. They're taking the sun's energy and they're producing electricity. All right, for 25 points in Dateline, last question for you in the game. When this astronomer discovered 4 moons orbiting Jupiter in the year 1610, the moons that were named for him, he proved that the Earth was not the center of the universe.
Galileo.
It is Galileo indeed, for 25 points. Thank you, Captain Robert. With those 25 points, that means you go to 175. That is a formidable score. Let's see if that wins this game for you. Congratulations, guys. Nicely played. We'll see you again in a few minutes. All right, now let's talk to the team here from Longfields, and let's start with our Captain James. And James, we really like how you listen to the clues and answer these questions. You know an awful lot about science. How do you know so much science?
Well, I know so much science. I was actually listening to your previous question about Singapore with the electricity. And first of all, I started liking rockets and planes. I even have a little model of the B-17 Flying Fortress right here.
Wow.
That's how much I like planes. I wanted to be an Air Force pilot. And then I read this book on an astronaut. I forgot his last name because his first name is Scott. Do you know him?
Scott Carpenter.
Yes, that's definitely him. So I read his autobiography. I actually have it autographed by him.
Oh, wow. That is wonderful. So someday we're going to be able to look back and say, you know, we knew James Collier when he was thinking about being an astronaut, and there you will be, up there on the moon or heading to Mars someday or doing something wonderful. We're going to be proud of you, young man, no matter what you do. Keep up your great work. Let's talk to your teammate, Jared. Jared, you're coming up with answers left, right, and center. And, you know, you told me before that you're just a great student. And that's not bragging. You just are. You're just a great student. Did you volunteer to do this, or did someone pick you?
It was kind of both.
That's oftentimes how things happen.
And I also wanted to be in it.
Well,
I was glad that I joined.
I'm glad, too, that you are here. And tell us a little bit about your school. I know you're not in the building right now, but what is it about Longfields and your coach, Miss Bear? What do you like about that place?
I like that all the teachers are nice there, and they help you out whenever you need it.
And boy,
And they break stuff down whenever you're trying to ask for help. So
sounds like a great school. Sounds like a great school. If you're having fun and the teachers care about you and you're not anonymous, that they really want you to get everything that they're trying to teach, then you're in the right place. You're in the right place. You're in the right place today, too. And let's talk to Kyrie. Kyrie, come on up. your first time on our show, and it's nice to have you here. Tell us why you wanted to do this.
I wanted to do this because I decided I wanted to have something else to do.
Isn't that the truth? You know, these days get long, it gets kind of boring. You can only watch so much TV, and certainly with the weather's bad and you can't go outside, we're happy you're here. What do you like about science?
What I like about science is really about how the whole topic is about.
Yeah, it kind of explains everything, doesn't it? You know, if you sit down and you kind of analyze something, science is right there next to you and helps to make it all oftentimes very clear. Nice to have you here. Good luck in this next round. Last 9 questions. Hang with me. Here we go. Let's get physical for 5 points. It is said that the Orion Nebula is a nursery for these innumerable sparklers that are in the sky by the billions. Stars, that's right. It's a nursery for stars, that nebula. For 15 points is a picture for you. You know, the country of Iceland is stark but beautiful. Because the country of Iceland is also so volcanically active, you can see some geysers there. It can tap into this kind of G-initialed energy to provide heat for the people's houses in Iceland.
What do you all think?
I don't know.
Correct answer there.
We have to come up with that.
Geothermal. Geothermal. So geo being the earth and thermal being heat. Yeah, so they. So living on top of a volcano is dangerous, but it has its benefits. Let's do the 25-point question. The newest chemical elements on the periodic table were all created in the lab and only exist for a fraction of a second. They are known by what S-initialed name, which means man-made.
Sulfur?
No. It's not sulfur. Sulfur is an actual.
It's a tough question. They are synthetic. A synthetic element. A synthetic element.
If it said A-initial, it would have been easier and it would have been artificial.
Artificial, yeah, artificial is in a sense, but they are real. They are real. It's just they're created in a lab, and sometimes they just exist for nanoseconds, but they are still different and unique. That's why they get to be put on the periodic table. Let's go to the potpourri. You'll get this one, 5 points. A recent exhibit of contemporary art featured, get this, people said, "Are you real?" Someone took a banana and put a piece of duct tape on it and stuck it to the wall and called it art. On the other side, there was a tank filled with formaldehyde, and inside was one of these cartilaginous fish, preserved, that always strikes fear in swimmers in the ocean.
Piranhas.
Ocean. He's talking about ocean. No. Guys, he's talking about ocean. Listen, what do you see on the beach? What are people scared of on the beach?
Sharks.
Sharks is right. Sharks is right. Thank you, Captain James. I like how you analyze. For 15 points, this is an interesting question. You all know about the island of Madagascar. You know, there was a couple animated movies with Madagascar in. The island of Madagascar off the coast of Africa, with its many unique creatures, like the lemurs, is often called Africa's version of these islands off the coast of South America, where Darwin saw those unique tortoises and birds. Where did Charles Darwin visit when he came up with his theories of evolution? What islands?
I have no idea. What about you guys?
Galapagos Islands?
Galapagos Islands is right. Absolutely right. Perfect. Is that Kyrie? Nice going.
That was Kyrie.
Hey, Ray. Give yourself some thumbs up, guys. Thumbs up. Super job. Super job. Galapagos. For 25 points in potpourri. The many CSI shows on television, that stands for Crime Scene Investigations, often rely on what F-initialed science to solve those crimes.
F-initial. I'm not going to say forum.
I don't know.
That's a tough one. Forensics. Forensic science. Forensic science.
I've heard that before.
I should have.
And if you go to the Owen Science Center someday when you're back, maybe you've been there already, they have a course where they have like an outline of a victim on the floor, and it's called forensic science. It's called forensic science. State line science for 5 points. I didn't like seeing this. The algae on the back of one of these large aquatic mammals, sometimes called sea cows, that you find in Florida, some of the algae was scraped away recently to reveal the name of the former U.S. president. What are these large mammals called?
No.
Sometimes called sea cows.
Right. That really sounds like a whale.
No. Alligator?
You probably, I know you know these, manatees. You know what manatees are? Manatees, well, they swim slowly, and there was algae all over the back, and someone had scraped the algae off to spell the former president's name. So whatever you think about that. For 15 points in Dateline, June Almeida was a Scottish scientist who came up with the negative staining to better identify this cause of the current pandemic. What is the name of the agent that is causing the current pandemic? The disease is COVID-19, but what is the agent, the living thing causing it?
I'm gonna
Say it again, Jared.
The coronavirus?
Coronavirus, that's what I want to hear. Good, 15 points.
I was about to say that because you said living.
Yes, because really, you're very sharp, because viruses really aren't quite alive. They can replicate, but they need a living thing. They have to infest something else, infect it. For 25 points, multiple choice. There's a project to track animals around the world to see where they really go in their daily lives. That project is named for what mythological character who was able to fly with wings attached to his body with wax? By defying his father's warnings, he flew too close to the sun, the wax melted, and he fell to earth.
Fell to the ground.
Was it Daedalus, Polonius, or Icarus?
Icarus.
That's right, for 25 points. That's the way to do it. Those 25 points get you 195. Longfields, congratulations, guys. Nicely played. Could it have been any closer? Not really, because these two teams were so evenly matched. 6 outstanding young people here today, scholars, all elite students. Our final tally today is Sylvania Woods 175, Longfields 195, so by 20 points. Longfields, congratulations. And to Miss Bear and to Miss Bell, congratulations. We will see you in the semifinal eliminations. And also a huge congratulations to Sylvania Woods. You know, we love your fashion statements. We love your science. We love your sportsmanship. We love everything about you. And of course, you've got all your supporters here, Dr. Buns and your principal and all kinds of folks at the school there. Thank you all. Let's give everybody a nice round of applause. Everybody a round of applause, and then a nice wave goodbye. This is Dave Zarin. Hope you enjoyed today's Science Bowl, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye now.